So it looks like a lot of you guys are understanding what's going on with the Cortez versus Sue Surf battle situation. Let's talk about it. Bro, I'm so glad, bro, and I'm so happy when I see that there is still a good portion, you know what I'm saying, of the community that I consider to be like a conscious part of the community. Kind of like, I relate it to like hip hop and music and the music industry. So where you have the mainstream music, you know what I'm saying? You got the mainstream hits, you got the mainstream artists, but then you also got the artists that are either underground, you know what I'm saying, or are still trying to be a conscious rapper, you know what I'm saying? That's how battle rap, that's how I'm starting to see battle rap, bro. That's how I'm starting to see battle rap. So when a situation, right, happens, like the Any Given Sunday situation, right, where the main event for this card was Sue Surf versus Cortez. When a situation happens where a person that's part of the main event involves himself into a situation that causes, right, the battle to be postponed, to then be put and rescheduled into a situation that completely benefits the URL and Sue Surf, right? When we're in this type of situation and people understand, right, what's going on, understand the business behind it, understand the intent behind it, understand the motives behind some of the moves that are made. When people start to understand it, and I see it, bro, like on social media, for example, Twitter, Facebook, and people are talking about the fact that the cards are now stacked against Cortez in almost every way, shape, or form. When I start to see people understanding and realizing this, bro, it makes me happy, bro, because it's like, sometimes I feel like some of the moves that URL makes, obviously, are fishy, sketchy, you know what I'm saying? But only fishy and sketchy, obviously, because as a business, you have to do things that are always going to benefit you. So that's why that those moves have to be done. But the fact that those moves are done doesn't justify something like Cortez now not getting the same opportunity or exposure that he would have got if he would have battled Sue Surf on Any Given Sunday on Caffeine live for over 500,000 people to see. It doesn't justify that, which is why I even decide to make videos and talk about it, bro. But again, if you take a look, bro, there's people that understand what's going on here. I've explained it a couple of times, but let me try and sum it up real quick for some people that still don't understand or believe that, you know, these are conspiracies that we talk about, you know what I'm saying? If you understand just basic just logic, anything that anybody does typically is done because it's in some way, shape, or form going to be beneficial to you. Specifically a business. There's no way a business is going to do things or take opportunities or risks that they either know are not going to go their way, or where the risks outweigh the rewards. I hope what I'm saying makes sense, right? So when it comes to business, you always have to keep in mind that the intention of a business is to make as much money as possible, to get as much traffic as possible, to get as many views as possible, to get as many advertisers as possible, to do anything in their power to benefit, monetize, all of this stuff. This is just basic knowledge, common sense. And again, once you get to a point in your life where you start to look at life differently, and you're not just like in this young stage, and you actually pay attention to how things are, how systems go, and just the world in general, you start to understand that, right? So that's always going to be the intention of the business. So when it comes to a URL, right? And when a situation like this happens and occurs, for example, that any given Sunday situation, and then it having been rescheduled to a situation now where it's fully controlled, right? And the narrative can be fully controlled. When that type of situation happens, bro, you really have to think about, why is this happening, right? Because, for example, the URL could have, right, rescheduled their battle to be live streamed on Caffeine. That could have been done. It could have been done. Summer's around the corner, bro. That could have been a battle. That could have been a battle that was rescheduled on like Summer Madness. Something that was going to be live streamed on Caffeine. But instead, this battle now goes onto an app. So people are not going to get to watch it live. Now the situation is in no way, shape, or form beneficial to Cortez. It was before. Now it's not. You got to think about who this benefits most. And then you'll start to see why things happen. In this situation, you got to think about all the ways that the URL and Sue Surf benefit, as opposed to the risk versus the reward at any given Sunday. At any given Sunday, there was a risk. There was a lot of risk involved. This is what people need to understand. There was a lot of risk involved, to the point where it would be out of the control of the URL and the business. What happens and what ends up happening, it would be out of their control. So when that situation happened with Sue Surf, believe me when I say that the URL smacking Beasley and URL were rubbing their hands like Birdman. Because they likely already knew how they were going to capitalize on this situation. They likely already knew how they were going to capitalize on this situation. Again, you got to think of all the ways that it benefits now the URL specifically and Surf specifically. App subscribers, they can edit the battle now. Like, the battle can be edited. Some people even have the concern of, if somehow Cortez gets Surf out of here, the battle can even be vaulted. Some people even have that concern now. Because you got to think about it. This is no longer in the hands of Caffeine at all. This is now fully in the hands of URL, this situation. URL has full control over this entire situation. And you got to think about how beneficial and how important Sue Surf is to the URL. You got to think about those things in order to understand what a lot of what I consider the conscious community in battle rap understands. You got to look at these things and understand these things. Again, at any given Sunday, the situation was getting out of the control of the URL. They had no control over what the results would have been. They had no control over what the situation was going to be. Surf, it wasn't prepared. They had no control over whether or not he was going to choke. There was a lot of things that were at risk that night. A lot of things. And then again, it got rescheduled into a situation that completely 1,000,000% benefits the URL and Surf over Cortez. Cortez doesn't benefit at all from this situation. In fact, Cortez has been in situations where he's caught bodies on URL and battles have been vaulted. There isn't even that trust there between Cortez and like the URL for things to go the way that they're supposed to go. This is all really like unfortunate, because I feel like Cortez is a real one, bro. Like, Cortez is a real one, bro. Like, what I mean is, like, Cortez doesn't go around talking all BS and lying and manipulating people and tearing people down. And Cortez doesn't do none of that, bro. But somehow he gets and is getting the super short end of the stick, bro, at every turn and every turning point. That's what happens, bro, with somebody like Cortez. It happens with other battlers too, but you know what I'm saying? Like, Cortez is like, his name he's been a name for like 10 plus years. That's why when it comes to like Math Hoffa, bro, like, you could name a bunch of battlers that, you know what I'm saying, the URL be, you know, playing these kind of games with, bro. And I just tend to think that it's just because simply these are people that the URL doesn't have control over. For one, the URL doesn't benefit from them because they're not popular ticket sellers, and you know, they don't get the views like some people. So these are the reasons why URL, you know what I'm saying, does things for certain battlers over others, because it will completely benefit the URL over others. You know what I mean? That's just the objective of a business at all points in time. That's the objective of the business, bro. To do anything in its power to benefit their assets, bro, their investments. Like, what does URL have to gain if Cortez's name is buzzing? If Cortez is not locked into URL, he's not a puppet for URL. So now Cortez's name is buzzing because he beat Surf on any given Sunday, and that's out of the control of URL. URL is not trying to build stars that are not under their umbrella, bro. That's the point. Like, they're not trying to build a star that they don't have control over. That doesn't make any sense. So the fact that the URL has complete control over Surf, and Surf is a complete benefit to URL, should fully explain to a lot of you guys that don't believe this situation is happening because of these reasons, should make you believe, or should help you understand why that would happen. Like, why that absolutely would happen. You know what I mean? Why that would happen. The battle would be sabotaged, you know what I'm saying, on any given Sunday by Surf himself. By Surf himself, bro. That still blows my mind, bro. By Surf himself. Knowing that he has a major battle coming up, bro, in like 10 minutes. And knowing that the URL is going to have his back and most likely create and reschedule the situation to benefit them as opposed to Cortez. These are not conspiracies, bro. This ain't no conspiracy. These are that's just how the situation unfolded. And that's me pretty much speculating on what happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, what happened? Like, I can understand people saying, you know, if something's a conspiracy, if people are talking about like Illuminati and all this crazy stuff. But this is real life. This is real life stuff. Well, when it comes to money, this is real life stuff, bro, that happens, bro. It's just the way it is. You got to put yourselves in the shoes of the business in order to understand why things happen the way they do. You got to remove yourself from your shoes and put yourself in their shoes and understand how this will benefit you. You know what I'm saying? That's how you start to understand. That's how you start to understand things. You know what I mean? So let me know what y'all think of the situation, man. I just really hope that, you know, people are fair, you know, and people are not caught. People are not manipulated by these narratives now, and people are not manipulated by votes now that you're going to see on the URLTV app, because believe me, the numbers are going to be completely lopsided. Surf is going to, you know what I'm saying, smoke Cortez on the numbers, you know what I'm saying, and ish like that. So I hope people are not, you know, the media, specifically championing them, are going to be saying that Surf, you know, beat Cortez and so I hope people are just not caught off guard by these narratives that are going to be created, bro, and these numbers that are going to be manipulated, bro, and these things that are going to happen now that the URL, the business, the machine has complete control over the situation now. Again, as opposed to Caffeine, where it was a live stream situation and you could not sit there and create a narrative after over 500,000 people just watched the battle live. There's no possible way you can create storylines and narratives after that. But if you do it in this way, you absolutely can, bro. It's the WWF. We all know this, bro. So let me know what y'all think, man. I got to get to work. You already know what it is. Your boy Joe coming at you live and direct from the battle.